Hello, back to Alta. My name is Basin, and we're back with Kakenuke Seishun Sparking. My ear has calmed down enough to where I do not feel weird wearing my headset normally anymore. I am slightly tired because I've just generally not been sleeping well. I would love to tell you how long I slept, but my watch was actually annoying me so badly last night that I just took it off. So I cannot tell the exact time, but alas, who cares? Anyways. Where were we? Oh, right. Shinji about to develop a fear of elderly women as well.
そしたら神楽坂くん、こんなことを言うんです。
俺はまだ若すぎるからさ。おじいちゃんになるまで待っててくれるかい？どうよ、かっこいいだろ。
No way, she'd be dead before you get that far, Shinji.
そのおばあちゃんもお前と同じこと言ってたよ。だからこう返したんだ。そんなこと言わずに待っててくれよ。そうすれば長生きできるだろ。ってな。どうよ。
おばあちゃんたち、キャーキャー言って喜んでましたね。
Bonnie would send us lines like that to girls his own age.
はいはい、静かにしてくださいっす。
Hello, hospital patient!
企画会議を始めるっすよ。
Biggie wanted to know what youthful event we would be doing next, which was what prompted this little meeting.
みんな、聞いてほしいの。もう夏休みも終盤よ。でも、まだ何か足りない気がするのよ。
What's this something?
こうさ、いろんな人を巻き込んで、でっかいことやりたい。
Biggie clenched her fist with emphasis.
そういうのなんかない？フラッシュモブ的なやつっすか？そういうのもいいけど、なんかこう、貢献度が足りないというか。貢献？ボランティアですね。単なるボランティアじゃ地味っていうか。ユウ、何か提案しなさい。
As for the unreasonable, won't help anything. I had absolutely no idea what you wanted to do.
それもいいけど、響ちゃん、宿題は終わってるの？大丈夫よ。ユウに見せてもらうから。
Hey.
ユウは小学生なんでしょ？だったら有効活用しないと。ユウもそう思うでしょ？
It's supposed to be good use, not abuse.
だいたいね、夏休みに宿題を出すこと自体がそもそもナンセンス。休みなんだから休ませなさいよ。バカじゃないの？
Well, don't tell me that.
とにかく宿題なんて真面目にやる必要なし。テストで点取ればいいんでしょ？そんなの宿題なんかやんなくたって余裕よ。さすが小日向先輩、型にはまらない女かっけーっす。でしょ？ひじりさんわかってる？
Actually, we know now that the summer homework counts towards the grades.
ウェイウェイ。
They were high-fiving.
ところでさ、トーノ。
What is it?
ひじりと付き合い始めてしばらく経つけど、順調なの？あ、それ私も気になってた。どうなの、ひじりさん？順調っすよ。先輩って普段はこんなっすけど、ベッドでは激しくて。
Hey!
もっと詳しく聞かせて。ちょっと響き、ダメだってそういうのは。何よ、何だって興味あるんでしょ？そんなわけないでしょ。他の子も困るからやめなさい。ドキドキ。せっかくだから。みんな聞きたいみたいだけど。みんな先輩のことになると興味津々っすね。いいでしょう、お聞かせするっす。やったー。
Hey, would you not, Kikka? Seriously, stop?
まあでも今日は青春イベントを決める回っすからね。今度ファミレスにでも集まって興味ある方にだけお話しするっす。いいわね、女子会しましょう。
Yikes, this is gonna turn into a super dangerous event.
それもいいけど、そろそろ本題に戻りましょう。
Kaido kept everyone in check.
その前に自分ちょっとトイレに行ってくるっす。はーい。
Kikka lightheartedly left the room.
じゃあひじりさんが戻ってくるまでユウの昔話でもしてよっか。ユウの恥ずかしい出来事ランキングとかどう？あ、それ興味あります。
Hibiki, what do you plan to tell people?
1位はダントツであれよね。願望を書き綴ったノート、 全校生徒の前で朗読されて壇上に取りに行った。
Stop it! Don't use my dark past to kill time! Hey, Kikka. Roughly an hour had passed since Kikka left the club room. Sent a message to Lynn, but she never read the message, and she wasn't there when I looked back at the club. When I looked back to the club room to find her. Kikka! Couldn't find her anywhere. Where'd you go? Crossed by the front of the staff room, was about to set off towards the gymnasium.
あら、ゆうくんじゃない。
Headmaster, I'm surprised to see Nagumi here considering it was on break.
どうしたの?
Nothing much really.
何も教える気はないということかしら?
Nah, this has nothing to do with you.
本当にそうかしら?
She flashed me a knowing smile. What do you mean?
ゆうくん、さっき人の名前を呼んでいなかった?
You heard that.
ええ、だから出てきたの。
Do you happen to know where Kikka is?
やっぱり聞き間違いじゃなかったのね。
The expression turned
あな
grim.
た、キッカを知っているの?
What do you mean know her? She's a member of the youth collective.
そう。
There's something wrong with Kikka, Headmaster.
ええ、ちょっとね。あなたもキッカを探しているんでしょ。場所を変えて話をしましょう。
We found her! Hospital. Nagumi had brought me to the headmaster's office. What do you want to tell me?
悪いんだけど、キッカについて知っていることを教えてほしいの。
What are you gonna do once I tell you anything
学
about
園
her?
長として知っておく必要があるからよ。
Felt the alarm bells going off inside my head. What are you scheming?
ご挨拶ね。別に取って食おうってわけじゃないわ。ただ、気になるのよ。
Nagumi's expression darkened, but I didn't sense any malice on her face. Would likely lead to more problems if we ran out without talking to her about this, and that was the last thing I wanted. Not to mention, I wondered why Nagumi was so eager to know about Kikka. These are my terms. Tell me why you're so eager to learn about Kikka. Tell me that much, and I'll share as much about Kikka as I'm able.
いいわ。飲みましょう。
Nagumi immediately responded. She was that greedy to know about Kikka. I told Nagumi about Kikka to the extent it wouldn't cause issues. That Kikka was a first year at the academy, and about how she turned up around the start of this year. About how we became friends after talking excessively, and that she had joined the youth collective. What's more, I told her that Kikka was running the youth collective as its president. Kept the fact that we were dating and living together a secret.
そう。聖キッカというのね。
Nagumi retrieved her laptop and quickly tapped away at her keyboard. What are you doing?
これを見て。
She turned the laptop screen towards me. There were several students' photos displayed there. The uniforms were somewhat different, but likely belonged to this
真ん中
academy.
に写ってるのが私。
Wait, Nagumi, you're an alumnus of this academy.
ええ。しかも生徒会
She
長。
knew Kikka. She knew Kikka. They were classmates. And now not.
この端っこに写ってる子を見て。
Nagumi pointed to the edge of the photo, where a girl was standing, partially blocked by the students. Huh? That was... This girl was...
見覚えがあるんじゃない?
Kikka. It was the side of her face and half covered at that, but it was plain as day. There was no chance I wouldn't recognize my girlfriend's face. The one standing in the middle of that photo was unmistakably Kikka. What's going on?
彼女は私の学園生時代の後輩よ。そして今現在、この学園に聖キッカという生徒は在籍してないわ。
I took a seat on a bench off the side of the schoolyard and gazed vacantly up at the sky. My thoughts were a mess and I wasn't sure what to do. I simply gazed blankly up at the sky. Kikka!
何一人で黄昏てんすか。疲れた顔しちゃって。老け込むにはまだ早いっすよ。
Can't breathe, can't breathe!
懐かしいっすね。前にもこんなことしてた気がするっす。
Yeah, that's true. That was how she acted when we first started talking. She said it was to cheer me up, or wanting me to enjoy my youth.
なんすか？本格的に元気ないっすね。
pried Kikka's arm from around my neck and spun around. Kikka?
なんすか。キスなら帰ってからにしてくださいよ。
Where have you been? I looked everywhere for you.
ああ、すんません。ちょっと野暮用で。青春部のみんなはどうしました？
I dismissed them already.
そうっすか。後で謝っときます。
Did something happen?
お腹が痛かっただけっすよ。
And that's why you couldn't respond to me on Len either?
ああ、もしかして疑ってるんすか？女の子は時々体調が悪くなることがあるんすよ。察してくださいよ。
Kikka poked fun at me like usual, but I wasn't in a laughing mood. You know, Kikka, I'm not an idiot either. In spite of everything, there's no way I can possibly accept an excuse like it was just an ordinary stomach ache, is there?
先輩。
I don't need to know anything and everything. But I was really worried. I thought something might have happened to you.
心配かけてごめんなさい。
Kikka looked dejected.
でも大丈夫っすよ。私は全然平気なんで。
Really? Good then. Kikka said so, then I would take her at her word. It wasn't one thing, though. This was the question I had to ask her. I ran into the headmaster earlier.
ああ、そうなんすか。
She called me into her office and asked me about you. In exchange, she showed me a photo. It was of the headmaster when she acted as the student council president when she was young. One of her classmates was in a photo, a girl named Kikka. She looked exactly like you.
そうっすか。
Hey, Kikka, tell me. What in the world is going on?
ああ、これは参ったっすね。まあそこは先輩にはあまり気にしないでほしいっす。
Kikka? She was clearly trying to sidestep this, so I grabbed her hand. Kikka's hand stiffened with surprise. I looked at her hand and... what? The palm of Kikka's hand was slightly see-through. Pulled back with her hand, pressed her chest in panic. What's happening? She's a ghost. Fucking... ah yes, the spirit of girlfriends past. Actually, I saw like a fucking fan art on Twitter recently of fucking Mint. It's just like one picture of Mint like wearing like a fucking... like fucking bedding ghost costume. But like very form-fitting. And then another one of like a lot of it gone and revealing that the reason why Titty Big is just like two round ghosts. And my first thought was just, ah yes, the ghosts of milkers past. I'm funny. Please believe me. On another note, actually, Expedition 33 has officially gone too far. Yesterday doing work, I had une vie attemée stuck in my head the entire time. I believe I pronounced that correctly. Don't fucking quote me on that though. It's been way too fucking long. And it's just like, how dare this game give me a fucking... get a fucking French song stuck in my head. I was told my little sister, like, hey, you should tell your French teacher, like, hey, she should look up what Claire Obscure is about because it did the impossible and made her brother respect the French. Kikka's body blurred and I could have sworn I saw right through her. Kikka, what's that?
先輩も得意なマジックっすよ。
Quit screwing around, there's no way magic like that exists.
ところがあるんすね、これが。あ、その顔は信じてないっすね。いいでしょう。だったらお見せするっす。
Kika shook my hand away and looked up at the sky as if she were about to sprout wings.
今から見せるのは世にも不思議な消滅マジック。さあ行くっすよ。
Wait, Kika!
それでは3、2、1、はい。
I reached out for Kika, but my hand passed through thin air. Wait! Felt like time had stopped and the world had grown cold. Kika had vanished before my very eyes. It's a depressing background. Gotta take a screenshot in case no CG comes up. I mean, I very much doubt it. Morning.
おはよう。
Needs and I dejectedly greeted one another. A few days had passed since Kika disappeared, and she stopped coming home entirely.
キッカちゃん、どうしてるかな。
I have no idea. When Kika stopped coming home, the very first place I went was the net cafe by the station. Searched high and low and even wandered around inside the cafe itself, which was nowhere to be found.
キッカちゃんと喧嘩したわけじゃないんだよね。
Yeah, that's not how it is. That's not what this is. I hadn't told anyone why Kika had come home yet. Even I couldn't believe her body was see-through or that she had vanished out of thin air. Into thin air, I feel it should be. Anyone would assume I was lying if I told them any of this.
ご飯、ちゃんと食べてるかな。
She's lived at that net cafe up until now, so I think she'll be fine on that front. The overnight bag Kika had brought with her when she moved in had miraculously disappeared as well, and like it vanished along with her.
でも心配だよ。みんなで探そうよ。
That sounds good. A few days had gone by since her disappearance. The chances of her wandering around aimlessly were exceptionally low. I highly doubted she would come back, even if we kept waiting for her. I'll call everyone from the youth collective together. Like, if I keep doing this right now, I don't know why, but a muscle right about here continues to twitch for me right now, and it's real annoying. So that's what happened. I explained what had happened to everyone that had gathered together in the club room.
ねえ、ユウ。なごみさんの話って本当なの？
Yes, I confirmed for myself that Kika isn't a registered student. Nagami probably shouldn't have relayed that information, but she made an exception and showed me anyway. That was partially why I believed the possibility that Nagami was lying was exceptionally low.
じゃあ、ひじりはなりすましの生徒だったってこと？そうなりますね。確かに、1年生のクラスでキッカちゃんを見かけたことないかも。
いや、でもさ、それなら教師に呼び止められるんじゃないか？
授業が始まったら出ていけばバレないんじゃない？制服を着ていれば怪しまれないかと。
Everyone chimed in to share their thoughts on the subject.
ちょっと待って。肝心なのはそこじゃないわ。なごみさんはひじりさんが昔の同級生だって言ったんでしょ。その同級生と今のひじりさんは瓜二つだった。そしてそのことを問い詰められたひじりさんは姿を消した。ということはその部分に彼女にとって不都合な事実があったってことよ。そこを突き詰めるべきじゃない？
Big was right. Some told me Kika wouldn't have come back as long as that mystery remained unsolved.
で、ユウ。
What?
あんた、何か隠してるでしょ。
Huh?
さっき私たちに事情を説明してるとき、変に口ごもってた。特に、ひじりさんと最後に会った時の話をするときね。
She couldn't be sharp as a tack sometimes.
あんたね、こんな時に一体何を隠してるわけ？今はひじりさんのことが最優先でしょ。ちゃんと話しなさいよ。
I don't think you'd believe me even if I did.
はあ？何言ってるの？
Biggie raised her eyebrows at my response.
ユウが助けてくれって言うなら、私はユウの味方よ。ユウが信じてくれって言うなら、私はユウを信じるわよ。昔から私はそう。何も変わってない。幼馴染なのに、そんなことも忘れちゃったわけ？
Biggie. She was right, Biggie had always been that type of person. Alright, I'll tell you everything. I explained what had happened, and she spared no detail. I told him about Kika's see-through hand when I grabbed her after I told her about my conversation with Nagami, and about she had completely vanished right in front of me.
嘘でしょ？
I'm serious!
目の前で消えたってマジックではないのですか？
Even if it was some super high-tier technique that even I can't figure out.
また何かの見間違いでしょう。言ったらそそっかしいんだから。
What happened to you believing me, huh?
ユウのことは信じてるわよ。でも怖いじゃない。だってそんなことができたら何でもやりたい放題よ。
How do you mean?
消えるってことは透明人間になれるってことでしょ。そしたらこっそり覗き見したり気づかれないように悪さすることだってできるじゃない。
There's no way Kika would behave that way. No, hey now. Hey wait, don't you mention it. Kika has snuck into my room once before. That time the front door had been locked. I had wondered how she had gotten inside.
もしかして肝試しの時私の足を握ったのって実は聖さんだってことも考えられない？
いやいや、さすがに現実離れしすぎじゃね？
でも目の前で完全に消えるなんてことがそもそも非現実的だし、それを信じるなら何が起こっても不思議じゃない。
そうね。
でもそれじゃキッカちゃんを見つけるのは無理とは言いませんが相当難しいですね。
Itsu and Kashima were right. No matter how hard we tried, we weren't going to find Kika if she could vanish and reappear at will. What should we do?
探すより他ないでしょ。私たちが聖さんのことを心配してる。また会いたいってことを伝える。それ以外私たちにできることなんてないわ。
Alright. We wouldn't get anywhere by standing around doing nothing.
もう一つできることがある。それは聖のことをもっと詳しく調べること。どこで生まれて何をしていてどういう人間なのか。
そんなの誰も知らないでしょ。
No, that's not true. The headmaster ought to know something. Nagami didn't know what kind of connection the current Kika had to the one she'd known. It's better than nothing, though.
それ私も一緒に行く。
決まりね。遠野と響は学園長に話を聞きに行く。残りは聖が行きそうな場所を手当たり次第に探してみましょう。
よっしゃ、行くか。
しおりちゃん、一緒に回ろう。わかりました。
Kaido, followed by Shinji, and then Ritsu and Hiragi stood up one after another. I'm sorry about all this. Dropped everyone into this for my, not Hibiki, Kika's benefit.
何言ってるんだよ。水臭いな。
困った時は助け合う。それが仲間ってもんでしょ。
By the way, when I mentioned the whole, fucking Expedition 33 thing, that's still ongoing. I still have, like, parts of Novi or Lumiere stuck in my head, and I hate it. I especially hate it because, like, it's actually fucking banger, yet it's fucking French. I'm conflicted. Ah! Thanks, everyone. I fought back the sudden urge to cry and stood up from my seat. I'm sorry to call you on such short notice, but Detective Yu has some question for you. Called Nagami and asked her to come to the academy as soon as possible.
本当よ。会食の予定をドタキャンしちゃったわ。でも、キッカのことで大切な話がある。なんて聞かされたら、無視はできないしね。
Thank you very much. Thanked her again and bowed my
それ
head.
で何があったの？
Kika disappeared. I told Nagami everything. The past, my inheritance, and the like didn't matter right now. Keiko was more important than all that put together.
なるほどね。キッカが目の前で消えたというのはちょっと信じがたいけれど、そんな嘘をつく理由もないし、とりあえずは信じるわ。で、私に何をしてほしいの？
Want information about Kika. Please tell me everything that you know.
いいけれど、私は聖キッカのことは何も知らないわよ。
分かってるわ。なごみさんが知ってるのは学園生だった頃に会った聖さんでしょ。それでもいい。今はどんな小さな手がかりでもいいから知りたいの。
分かったわ。話しましょう。
Nagumi straightened her back and relayed her story.
彼女に出会ったのは私が学園2年生の時よ。名前は六道吉花。1年下の後輩だった。
六度聖じゃなくて？
ええ。私が知っている吉花は六道吉花。物静かで口数が少なくて、こちらから話しかけなければほとんど何も喋らない。
今の聖さんとは随分違うわね。
学園でばったり出会うまで彼女と話したことはなかったけれど、名前だけは知っていた。
へえ、どうして？
六道家はこの辺りじゃちょっと名の知れた家なのよ。山の上に玉浦神社っていう神社があるのは知ってる？
Yeah, I'm familiar
六
with
道
it.
家は代々そこの宮司さんをやってるの。
Kika's family was...
彼女は両親を早くに亡くしてね。保護者の親戚と一緒に暮らしてた。でもその親戚っていうのがくせ者だった。両親が亡くなって吉花は学園1年生にしてすでに神社の跡継ぎだったの。ところが親戚はどうやら吉花が持ってる神社の権利が欲しかったらしくてね。ことあるごとに吉花に嫌がらせをしていた。
ひどい。許せないわ。
授業が終わると吉花はいつも校庭でぼーっとして時間を潰していた。家に帰れば嫌がらせを受けるからね。一人で校庭の隅にあるベンチに何時間も座ってたわ。さすがに見かねて私が生徒会に誘ったの。することがないなら手伝ってくれないってね。
うん、それはナイスよ、なごみさん。
最初はほとんど会話らしい会話はできなかったんだけど、次第に打ち解けてきてね。少しずつだけど家のこととか話してくれるようになった。それで今二人に話した親戚の嫌がらせのことも知ったわけ。
その話を聞いてなごみさんはひどいと思わなかったの？
もちろんひどいと思ったわよ。警察や弁護士に相談して一緒に解決しましょうって吉花に打診したわ。でも吉花に断られた。
どうして？
吉花はこれは自分に与えられた罰だからって。
罰って何よ？嫌がらせを受け続けなきゃいけない罰って。
私だってそう思ったわよ。何度も話をして時には問い詰めたりもしたわ。でもその罰っていうのが何なのか最後まで私には心を開いてくれなかったの。
Nagumi sadly cast her eyes downward. What do you mean until the
学
very
園を
end?
卒業する時までってことでしょ？
いいえ違うわ。あれは夏休みの終わり。そう、ちょうど今頃ね。吉花は事故で意識不明の重体になったらしいの。
なんで？
わからない。
You don't know.
お見舞いに行ったけれどさっき話した親戚が会わせてくれなかったの。今は面会謝絶だ。容体が安定してないからって。どんな事故だったのかもどういう状態なのかも何一つ教えてはくれなかった。きっと変に勘ぐられるのが嫌だったんでしょうね。あからさまに嫌そうな顔で厄介払いされたわ。今思い出しても腹立たしい。
ムカつく。許せない。玉浦神社にはいろいろ思い出があるのに、そんな下道な人たちに神社が奪われるなんて絶対に嫌。行くわよ。
Hold on a sec. Going there to do what?
どうって一言文句を言わなきゃ気が済まないわ。
やめておきなさい。
どうしてよ。なごみさんだって腹が立ってるんでしょ。
そんなことしたって無駄。生徒が突然押しかけてきて事実無根の言いがかりをつけてきたって学園に苦情が入るだけよ。無意味なことで学園の立場を悪くされても困るわ。
じゃあどうしろって言うの？
ゆうくん、どうすればいいと思う？
Nagumi grinned and turned the subject to me. What we want is information. Getting emotional or angry about it won't solve anything. We need to know what happened with her accident and what became of Rokuto Kikka. That's ultimately what we're after.
いいわ。そのためにはどうすればいい？
Create a situation where they're forced to talk, then go see them.
そうかもしれないけど、そんな状況が作れるならなごみさんがとっくにやってるでしょ。
No, I wonder about that. Nagumi didn't become headmaster until recently. Doesn't that change the landscape of things a little?
ご明察。学園長としてここに来て初めて得られた情報も多いわ。これを精査して もう一度ぶつかってみる価値はある。ただ当然ながらリスクもあるわ。私の感傷的な思いだけで当時のことを蒸し返しに行くのは大人げないとも思っていた。だから進んでやろうとは思わなかった。でも今のあなたたちにとっては違う。そうよね。
Yeah, exactly. I guess try to knock me about, Mad. I beg you, knock me, please help
私
us.
からもお願い。ユウとひじりさんのために。
いいでしょ。何年越しかのリベンジよ。絶対に吐かせてみせるわ。
Please and thank you. You know, it's kind of funny. When it comes to routes like these where I know always 100% probably going to end badly, or overall it's just like, oh, there's going to be like a really fucking down in the dumps segment, because we know like Kikka's currently dying. Usually there's like a pit in my stomach. I do believe the pit is just like not a thing right now. Who knows? Maybe it's exactly because I've been consuming way too much clear obscure content. Watching people get uber depressed while playing that game is funny. And also, the boss fight when... don't worry, I'm not actually going to say any names. I'm not going to spoil anything. But like, a consistent thing that I've seen is content creators, when they finally get to the boss fight where Ovien Ateme plays, which is like the middle part of, I believe, of fucking Novien Lumiere. Like, when they get to that boss fight, consistently what happens is that they're fucking stunned in the silence by the music starting, and then are so shook by the fucking music that they just forget that they're playing a game and die to the first attack. That has consistently happened with the content creators that I've watched play the game. Nice. The next day we looked through old newspapers we borrowed from the library. What do you think, Ibiki?
ダメね。
Nagami requested more time to prepare before we mounted an attack on Kikka's relative. Till then, we decided to look up any and all information we could find related to Kikka.
目が痛くなるわね、これ。
Nagami had heard from this relative that Kikka was in an accident. Ibiki and I had used that date as a starting point and looked through both national and local newspapers from roughly a 5-day window before and after. We also had Hiragi on the lookout for information online. How are things on your end, Hiragi?
6度およびキッカで検索してもヒットする記事はありませんでした。何らかの事故があったとして、おそらく名前は公開されなかったんだと思います。今は風見市の出来事に絞って調べてます。
Sorry, thank you.
頑張ります。
Hiragi turned back to her laptop and continue her digital investigation.
ひじりさんを見つけられるかな。
I'm sure it'll be difficult. The rest of the club members were out in the summer heat searching about a station in downtown for her. Everyone was working hard for Kikka's sake.
もう無理。頭痛くなりそう。
Biki, who had gone through local newspapers, had thrown in the towel. You could take a break.
ダメよ、そんなの。みんなも頑張ってるんだから。ただ、なんかこう、根本的に思い違いをしてるような。
Biki pondered something with a rather sullen look on her face. How's that?
ひじりさんの親戚は、ひじりさんを厄介払いしたがってたんでしょ？
Yeah, that's what Nagami was saying.
で、その親戚が事故で意識不明だって言ったのよね。
Yeah, she did.
その情報って本当に信用できるの？めんどくさくなって嘘ついてる可能性もあるわよね。
Yeah, I guess that's true.
普通それでも合わせるくらいはするわよね。でも合わせなかった。それって合わせることができないからで、つまり6度キッカさんは。
Stop it, Biki. Understand what she was getting at without having her spell it out to me. We dwell on the thought too much. We very well may start to suspect that relative of being a murderer.
そうだとしたら大事件です。被害者は絶対に名前が出ますし、それがないということは 大ごとになるようなことではなかったということです。
Hidegi's right.
今はまだ明らかになってないってことじゃない？
That's possible, as officials could be treating this as a missing persons case. If so, then why did the relative go to the effort of telling Nagami that Kikka was unconscious from an accident, when it would have been easier to tell her that Kikka had mysteriously gone missing?
それはまあそうよね。ってことは結局話は振り出しに戻ったってこと？
Suppose it does.
もうモヤモヤする。ねえユウ、あんたマジシャンなんでしょ？名推理でズバッと解決しなさいよ。
I'm a magician, not a detective. Those are two totally different things. The beacon eye at this pointless back and forth.
遠野先輩、
Hideki turned her computer screen towards
こ
me.
れ見てほしいんですけど。
なに学園生お手柄、溺れかけた少年を救う？
It was a single post on a gigantic online message
風見湾
board.
で溺れかけていた当時8歳の少年を救ったのは風見学園の女の子だった。学園生は溺れている少年を発見し、一人で救助。駆けつけた救急隊員により少年は蘇生。ただ無理がたたったのか、学園生の少女は体調を崩して入院。風見市は学園生の回復を待って表彰を行う予定である。
The beacon and I look at each other.
ねえ、これって
I think it probably is. Checking the data, this article verified my assumption.
この8歳の少年ってユウ、あんたのことよね。
Yeah, sure is.
あんた学園生の女子に助けられたの？お見舞いに行った時そんなこと言ってなかったわよね。
And after nearly drowning, I didn't come to until I was at the hospital. I don't remember anything that happened in between. So I started to come together. Once I was engulfed by the waves and began to drown, there was no chance I would have been able to reach the shore without any help. Okay, let's take another look at these newspapers using that article as our baseline. We won't cover just accidents or scandals, but broad news coverage as well.
そうね、やってみましょう。
We rolled up our sleeves and started flipping through one newspaper after another. The next day.
ついに来たわね、決戦の時が。
I swear to God, like... I don't know if any of y'all are gonna understand what I'm about to be on about. Right now, this soundtrack has the same energy to me as like that one soundtrack, like the fucking Organization is Talking soundtrack from Chain of Memories. You know, because like they didn't have fucking a lot of memory when it came to music. So they just like had like the same soundtrack for damn near every scene where the organization members were talking. And this has the same energy to me right now. It's like, hey, oh, is that Axel in the background murdering another man? Beaky, Nagmi, and I made our way to Tamura Shrine. Battle command isn't some fight. We came here to have a discussion. We never ended up finding anything on the newspapers, nor were we able to fact-check the article we'd found online. In the end, we had yet to learn what that information had come from.
話し合いって何甘いこと言ってるの？相手は聖さんに嫌がらせをしてた人間なのよ。
It was Rokudo Kikka who got arrested, not the Kikka-Route.
そんなの関係ない。立場を利用して弱者をいたぶるなんて誰であろうと私は許さないわ。
Beaky was fuming before we even got to go to the front door.
あのね、響ちゃん。分かってるとは思うけど、一応確認ね。今回親戚の方とは私が話をする。二人は口を挟まないこと。邪魔はしないって言うから連れてきたんだからね。
もちろん分かってるわよ。
Do you though?
正義は勝つ。
本当に大丈夫かしら。
Well, I'll be sure to keep Hibiki from totally losing it.
お願いね。さて、それじゃ行きましょうか。
We headed to the office at the back of the shrine grounds. Following a discussion with Kikka's relative.
ね なごみさん、バッチリだったわね。
ええ、下調べに時間をかけた甲斐があったわ。
The preparations Nagami spoke of were to find out who Tamura Shrine's parishioners were. Their contributions were indispensable to the Shrine's operations. She had spoken with several influential parishioners and got their seal of approval on the situation before engaging with the family directly. Maybe a shrine, but their revenue stream is their weak point, huh?
そうよ。誰だって霞を食べて生きていけるわけじゃないもの。あとは、今の神社のやり方に疑問を持っている人も多かった。ま、痛いけな女の子をいたぶって乗っ取るような連中なんだから、身から出たサビとしか言いようがないわ。
That's my former master for you. You really go for the throat.
嫌味のつもり？もっと素直に褒めていいのよ。
Her methods aside, we got everything we came for because of her. Thank you, Nagami.
気にしないで。今回の件は私も当事者だから。
Nagami paused mid-step.
さて、ここからが本番よ。親戚の連中が入ってくれたおかげで、キッカの居場所は分かったわ。風見市民センター病院。一般病棟504号室。そこに六道キッカがいる。私は今から会いに行くけれど、あなたたちはどうする？
もちろん行くわ。ユウも行くでしょ。
Fell silent. I was a little afraid to see her, to be honest.
ユウ、しっかりしなさい。彼女はあなたの命の恩人なのよ。行かなきゃダメよ。
Yeah, you're right. Just like Ibiki said, there would be no excuse if I ran away now.
決まりね。それじゃ行きましょう。
We followed Nagami and headed to the hospital. Now here's the thing. Most likely, if miracles happen and they get to stay together, I can see something happening where, like, whatever force is letting her materialize her fucking soul the way she is right now, it's just gonna decide, alright, you know what, you get to stay, have fun, you're now just Hijiri Kikka, you have a falsified record, you can't just live your life from that point on again. You're no longer associated with Rokudo Kikka, die. Or the other option is that she wakes up and they're just gonna, like, go out even though she's the age of his aunt. Now the base option would be the second option, but like the option they're probably gonna go for if it is not going to be a tragic ending is the first option. Cosby City Community Hospital, General Ward Room 504. That was where we would find Kikka. Kikka. A woman was resting peacefully on her bed with long hair, thin cheeks, and emaciated limbs. She was more mature than the Kikka we knew, but it was quite immature when compared to Nagami.
キッカ、遅くなってごめんね。
Nagami gently petted her head.
普段キッカの世話をしている看護師さんから話を聞いてきたわ。
なんて言ってたの？
彼女は数年前に少年、ユウ君を助けた直後に意識を失って、この病院に運ばれた。それから今日まで数年間、一度も目を覚ましていない。
一度も？
当然、外を歩き回ったり学園に通うなんて絶対に無理よ。あなたたちの知っているキッカとはやはり別人ね。
別人？本当に？
That's so why Kikka had her doubts. What? This person, why? Do you mean why Nagami had her doubts? This person certainly looked more mature than Kikka, and I couldn't imagine the nurses would lie about that. He showed a resemblance to Kikka. My Kikka was uncanny. In time, Kikka would someday look like this person. I was in the doubt in my mind that they were carbon copies.
でも、六道キッカさんではあるんでしょ？
ええ。彼女は私の後輩だった六道キッカ。それは間違いないわ。
Nagami gazes down at her with a sad look in her
ねえ、
eyes.
なごみさん、この人はもう目覚めないの？
脳波は出ているから脳死状態でないことは確認できているみたい。ただ覚醒しない。理由はわからないそうよ。それと最近になって容体が少しずつ悪化している。 不整脈が見られるようになってきた。このままだと長くは持たないかもって。
そん
was subjected to ruthless harassment by her relatives, and she took the shrine out from under her, only to fall into a coma after saving me. Now she was approaching the end without having woken up since. This is unbelievably tragic.
なねえなごみさん、なんとかならないの？
私だってできることなら元気になってほしい。でも医療の現場でどうにもならないものを何とかする力なんて、それこそ神様にお願いするより他はないでしょうね。
Pray to God in times of hardship, huh? Well, pray to God as many times as it took if it was willing, but the thought brought me no comfort. Even so, I touched Rokudo Kikka's fingertips and prayed. Rokudo Kikka, thank you. Thanks to you, I was able to lead my current healthy life. Thanks to you, I made friends with Hibiki, Aritsu, and so many others. I couldn't say it was all sunshine and rainbows, but it was tons of fun all the same. It was all because of you. I could never begin to express how grateful I am to you. Thank you truly for giving me another opportunity to live my life. Which is why I wish you would get better too. I want to tell you that directly. I want to return the favor. If there's anything I can do for you, then please tell me. I'll do whatever I can to help.
そろそろ面会時間が終わるわ。帰りましょう。
ゆう、行きましょう。
Yeah. I could only hope my prayers reached her as I stepped out of her hospital room. After parted ways with Nagumi and Hibiki, I didn't feel like going home yet and wandered around along the beach. I was worried what would come of Rokudo Kikka. However, our goal wasn't to see Rokudo Kikka. We had wanted to know where Hijiri Kikka was. And we still came up short even after stopping in to see Rokudo Kikka at the hospital. Sighed, feeling the heavy weight of all my wasted efforts. Kikka, where'd you go? Everyone's looking for you. Saying that out loud only made me angrier. There's just no way you can up and leave without saying a word to us. If there's a goodbye, then at least come and say something to me. Give up until I see you again. So I'll search you no matter how many years it takes. Shout that out towards the ocean. I miss you, Kikka. Hi, Kikka.
仕方ない人っすね、先輩は。
Could have sworn I'd heard her voice.
そんな熱烈に求められたら出てこないわけにはいかないっすよ。
Kikka.
そうっすよ。先輩の大好きなキッカちゃんっす。
I nervously touched Kikka's hand and I could feel her soft, warm skin. Kikka! I pulled her into a tight embrace.
先輩、苦しいっすよ。
Something about this composition of the CG makes me not like it. It's not because it looks bad, it's because she's gonna fucking vanish out of his arms, isn't she?
大丈夫。どこにも行きませんから。
Dumb as if I can believe that. You just up and disappeared and have been gone for days. I was worried sick about you.
すんません。
Thank goodness you're okay. So glad you was safe.
そんなに心配してくれるなんて思わなかったっす。
Dumbass! There's no way I wouldn't worry. My precious family, my girlfriend.
愛されてるっすね、自分。
Of course you are. Pulled back far enough to face her. Kikka, I know you've been hiding something from me for a while now. I never wanted to force you to tell me if you didn't want to, but you needed to tell me what's going on right now. Usually, Kikka, who are you exactly?
そうっすよね。ここまで来たらもう隠しきれないっすね。
She showed me a self-deprecating
先輩
smile.
もうすうすは気づいてるでしょ。私が普通の人間じゃないってこと。
Kikka's serene eyes shot straight through me. Yeah, I do. You could go so far as to say that she resembled Rokudo Kikka to a T, and she could vanish and reappear at will. You use something like Rokudo Kikka's disembodied spirit.
ご名答っす。正確には自分でもよくわかってないんすけどね。なんか幽体離脱っぽい感じで動き回れるようになって、最初は驚いたっす。
Why'd you become a spirit?
それを理解してもらうには、まず私の六道吉花のことを説明しないといけないっすね。
Kikka replied and closed her eyes.
私は代々続く神主の娘に生まれました。その成果はわからないんすけど、私は生まれた時から少し特殊だったんす。
Strange how?
簡単に言えば見える人間だったんすよ。
You can see things.
先輩にも見せましたよね、展望台で。
Oh, that. It was a world of glittering lights. It had been a magical sight, powerful yet fleeting, where each light represented life. That's how she saw the world since
小
birth.
さい頃はそれがなんだかよく分かってなかったんす。赤ちゃんの頃は眩しいほどに光り輝いてて、年を取ると徐々にその輝きが失われていく。そして光が途絶えると間もなくしてなくなる。
So it's basically their life
そう。
force.
最初は寿命みたいなものだと思っていたんすよ。でもなんだかおかしいんす。寿命だったら生まれた瞬間が最大で、あとは減り続けていくだけじゃないすか。でも私が見える光は何かの拍子に輝きを取り戻したり、急に輝きが失われたりするんす。人づてに輝きが伝播したり、仲のいい人同士で共鳴してお互いに輝きが増したりもするんすよ。逆に仲が悪い人同士だと輝きが失われていくんすけどね。あとは人の輝きを奪ったりする人もいたっす。
What the heck is that? Giving, receiving, resonating, stealing. It was clearly some other than life force.
で、観察してるうちになんとなく分かってきたんすよ、この光の正体が。
She brought that scene back to life again. I transformed back into another world, one in which I could see the sparkling radiance of all life. What do these lights mean?
これは陽の力、宿命の荒廃、運勢のもたらす輝き、生命に与えられた運気のようなものっす。
Karma.
生命は生まれ落ちた瞬間にあらかじめ決められた運気を与えられるんすよ。命は運気によって支えられてるんす。宝くじに当たる人は自らに与えられた運気を消費して因果率の中からいい未来を引き出す。運気を失った人は因果率が選べなくなり、悪い未来しか引き出せなくなっていく。そうして生命は終わりを迎える。私に見えてるのはそういうものっす。
Don't tell me that youth count you were telling me about before is...
そう、この光のことっす。よく青春してる人は輝いてるとか言うじゃないっすか。私はそれが本当に見えてるんすよ。
Oh no, but shut up, it's not. So when you were telling me I wasn't experiencing my youth.
ええ、先輩はその光が周りと比べてとても弱かった。だから心配してたんす。
See, so that's what you meant. Thanks for worrying about me, Kikka. That's the reason you've kept on telling me enjoy your youth, huh? Those with limited karma tend to bring about poor futures for themselves. Compared to others, I was slowly killing myself without realizing it. That was why Kikka had been so desperate to make me enjoy my youth. Also to help me avoid a bad future, to avoid death.
信じてくれるんすか、こんな高等無形な話を。
Of course I do, you're the person I love. What point would there be if I don't believe you?
先輩、
Kikka squeezed my hand. I understand that you could see this youth count. But why did you become a spirit?
さっきも言いましたけど、運気って人に移したり 奪えたりするんすよ。それでいろいろ試しているうちに少しずつコントロールできるようになったんす。
Does that mean you have the ability to steal and give karma?
そういうことっす。
Something just occurred to me. I could practically hear the shattered pieces clicking into place in my head. Don't tell me. Can't be. When I was little, I nearly drowned in the ocean. If not for Rokudo Kikka, I would have died right then and there. So, tell me. After Rokudo Kikka saved me, that's when she... Kikka, did you give me your karma?
その通りっす。
My vision shaked. And what? Being pulled out of the water by Kikka wasn't what had saved me. It was because she had given me all of her karma.
あの時のゆうくん、先輩は運気がゼロ、死を待つばかりの状態だったんす。助けるためには自分の運気をすべて渡すしかなかった。
But if you did that, then you...
そうっすね。自分が死ぬことは織り込み済みっす。まあでも別に良かったんすよ。だってその時はもう疲れちゃってましたから。
No, I get it. Now that we mentioned something about it before. She was soft-spoken, taciturn, and hardly spoken unless spoken to. That's the sort of girl Rokudo Kikka had been. She was worn out from being subjected to ongoing harassment by her relatives. She had given up on life. That was why she hadn't hesitated to throw her own life away.
全力で先輩に運気を注ぎ込んだら急に眠くなって、ああこれで死ねるんだって思ってたんすけど、なぜか目が覚めて気づいたら生き量になってました。最初はマジモンの幽霊で他の人からは見えなかったし、普通の人に視認できて人に触れるようになったのは去年くらいっすね。これが今の自分、生き量になった理由っす。
That's what happened. Then why didn't you introduce yourself as Rokudo Kikka?
六道吉花でいたくなかったからっす。親戚と同じ六道の人間でいるのに嫌気がさしてたんで、父と母からもらった名前だけ拝借したんすよ。
So your personality is different from Rokudo Kikka because...
それは大学デビューで性格変わる人と同じっす。イメチェンしたかったんすよ。
That was an unexpectedly plain reason.
そんなわけで生き量の自分は聖吉花になったんす。
You're not going to go back to being Rokudo Kikka? When asked, her expression turned slightly
ずっ
gloomy.
と考えていてわからなかったことがあったんす。どうして私は死なずに生き量になったのか。
That's true. That bugged
私
me.
がやった運気の操作は本来やっちゃいけないことなんすよ。だってその気になれば人を殺したり寿命を操作したりできるんすから。
True enough. The ability to freely control the cycle of life and death, not just people, but for every life form was bordering on the divine.
私は禁忌を犯したっす。だからその報いを受けたのかなって前までは思ってたんすよ。
Was it not?
先輩、私の体をよく見てほしいっす。自分光ってないっすよね。
Notice how she'd pointed it out. In a world where every life form emitted phosphorescence, Kikka had no such radiance. Kikka's light was dim, effectively serving as proof that she was no longer of this
でも
world.
それだけじゃないんす。先輩の手から出てる光を私が吸収してるのわかります？
Kikka and I were holding each other's hand. A portion, a truly infinitesimal amount of light that spilled from me was being absorbed into Kikka's body. Talking to her. What does that mean? Like, I was like stuck on the infinitesimal again.
推測なんすけど、おそらく私は運気がマイナスの状態なんすよ。私が持っている分以上の運気を先輩に渡そうとしたせいかもしれません。そのせいで私は生きることも死ぬこともできない状態、生き量になったんだと思うんす。でも先輩といることで、一緒に青春することで、少しずつ私にも運気が溜まってきたんす。マイナスだったものが ゼロに戻りつつあるんすよ。
Wait a second. What happened if she would reach zero karma? I mean, just don't let her. Like she said before, reaching zero karma does not mean automatic death. It's just people usually die very soon after. So what you have to do is just make sure that she's at zero for as short as humanly fucking possible by bringing her as close to zero as possible and then, like, I don't know, giving her, like a half of your karma. Because clearly you can build it up again. Like, just giving half of your karma should not come to that big an issue. So just, like, give her enough so she jumps over that, and then she's gonna build it from there. Ordinary people would die, then Octokik's condition has been steadily deteriorating lately because...
正しいプロセスに戻りつつあるんすよ。生まれたものは必ず死ぬ。万物不変の正しいプロセスに。
Die. Kikka was. I want to hear that. I want it to be true. Yet I had no choice but to confirm it for myself. If Okudokika dies, what happens to you?
最近、六道キッカが不調になると、私もわかるんすよ。聖キッカの体がうまく保てなくなるんす。なんで、おそらく六道キッカが死んだら、私も消えるっす。
I was losing all hope. I'd finally got to see her again, and there was no more secrets between us. Just when things were looking up, why? That, not to mention, it was my fault that Kikka had lost her karma and become a spirit. In spite of that, she'd been having fun with us in the youth collective, and yet, because she was with me, and not even that could be allowed anymore. I'm sorry, Kikka. Because of me, you...
違うっすよ、先輩。悪いのは私の方っす。先輩は何も悪くない。これは全部、自業自得なんすよ。
There's no way that's true. If I'd been stupid and nearly died, you wouldn't have become a spirit either. If you had never become a spirit and could have lived a normal life, then none of this would have happened.
いいんすよ。もともと、私には幸せになる資格なんてないんす。
Why, like hell that's true. There's no way it was wrong for any human being to pursue happiness.
だったら、先輩は祝福できるんすか？先輩を捨てた母親の幸せを、心の底から願えるっすか？
That doesn't matter right now.
関係あるっす、私は。家族を見捨てたんすよ。そんな人間が一人、のうのうと青春を謳歌する資格なんて、あるわけないじゃないっすか。
You're bad in your
そう
family.
っすよ。先輩の大嫌いな母親と、私は同じっす。私の家族を、見殺しにしたんすよ。
You're
だから
lying.
何度も言ったじゃないっすか。私は、不良物件なんすよ。
Backstory time. Oh no, never mind. Transition time. Before I knew it, I was in my room. The reality of Kikka's situation had weighed heavily on me. I stood there motionless when Kikka said goodbye. Quietly watched her fade into the distance, and I remember I'd got back here afterward. Kikka. When Rokto Kikka met her end, Hijiri Kikka would disappear along with her. The karma Hijiri Kikka had accumulated from being with me would level out and return to normal. The laws of nature likely dictated the need for such balance. There's no way I could possibly accept a reason like that, though. That wouldn't be fair to Kikka in the slightest. I would lose my precious family. She was ruthlessly harassed by her relatives that were after her inheritance. She consumed all of her karma to save me and become a spirit. And everything beyond that had become her own personal hell. I mean, wasn't that so? Having fun and celebrating youth were like poison to Kikka. She had to avoid having fun or sharing her time with someone else in order to continue her life as a spirit. All she could do was watch others have fun from a distance. If this was now, then what was? Why did Kikka have to suffer like this? I was forced to shoulder such a cruel fate. Damn it, God damn it all! Chucked something beside me at the wall. If God were to appear right here and now, I'd probably slap him. The consequences be damned. I don't care what happened to me, but I couldn't forgive anyone for doing this to Kikka. And I'm guilty of the same crime. Whose fault was it that Kikka had become a spirit? Mine. Sad because I was a stupid kid who nearly drowned in the ocean. Whose fault was it that Kikka was about to disappear? Mine. Kikka was on the fence about dating me a long time. She had told me that she was damaged goods and that she wanted me to get along with some other girl. Looking back on it now, I understand why. Kikka knew she would be at her end when we became a couple. In a roundabout way, it was pure suicide. But I had forced her into it. At this rate, Kikka was going to disappear. Just like I killed her myself. That's why I didn't tell Kikka to stay. I silently watched her walk away. What else was I supposed to do? After all, I would have disappeared if I had asked her to stay. There's no way I could allow that to happen. I couldn't stand to be here and head outside. I wandered around town with no particular destination in mind. I'm gonna think that Kikka told me something. That she had abandoned her family. Curious, I took out my phone. The result came up easily with some brief research. It had landed on an article about a traffic accident that had occurred during one holiday. The car had been caught between two trucks on the highway, leading to the death of 4 of the 5 members of the local family. Only a single 12-year-old girl had survived. Well, so that's what it is. Could easily imagine that Kikka had said that she had no right to enjoy her youth. When Nagumi reached out to help, Kikka refused and said it was the punishment she deserved. Now I knew why. Kikka saw it. There in the car, driving down the highway. She had watched every member of her family's radiance disappear. It happened on a long-awaited first day of a family trip. It was supposed to be a fun 3-day, 2-night trip. And it happened just as everyone was about to pile into the car. I noticed their light was gradually growing weaker, but I don't know if I should tell my parents. Would have cancelled if I had. And we wouldn't have been able to go on a trip we'd all been looking forward to. I hesitated, but ultimately kept it to myself, without knowing that what the decision would lead to. That was how I became a family's sole survivor. I hated that I survived. If anything, I wish I had died along with them. I was the only one left in this world. After giving it some thought, I came to a realization. God is punishing me. He wanted me to be alone in my suffering, and to feel regret for my transgressions. That was why I had no misgivings when my relatives came along and began to harass me. After all, this was my punishment. It was what I deserved for letting my parents, brother and sister die. Even so, it had been brutal to say the least. Every day but now, I wandered around in the hopes of finding a place to die. But I was never granted salvation. I was forced to live on. For several years had passed. I had kept watch over the shrine my parents had left to me, all while fulfilling my duties as its priest. Around that time, 2 children started to play around the shrine.
さてと、今日は何するんだっけ？あ、思い出した。あれをやるのよ。
What was that again?
ほら、ユウ。昨日話して2人で決めたでしょ？今日は私たちの結婚式をやるの。しっかりしてよ。あなた。
Are we really going to do this?
何よ。嫌なの？あんたが私とずっと一緒にいたいって言うから、じゃあ結婚しようって話になったんでしょ？
Did I actually say that?
言ったもん。忘れんなバカユウ。
I'm sorry, I'm sorry!
こらこら、喧嘩しちゃダメだよ。
Shrine maiden, how do you hold a wedding?
そんなの決まってるじゃない。私はウェディングドレスを着て、ユウはタキシードを着るのよ。そしたら健やかなる時も、私もユウも。
You get it? We've seen the scene.
それうちではできないかな。
If my brother and sister were alive, they would have been roughly the same age as these two. I felt awful for feeling any semblance of adoration for them. Even so, I kept them company whenever time allowed for it.
あそこはね、もともとは海じゃなくて岩場だったの。そこにこの玉浦神社が建ってた。でも地震があって岩場ごと神社は沈んじゃって、鳥居だけが残されたんだって。
Is it true that there are lots of stones that shine like gems built inside
こ
the
の神社
shrine?
も正殿の周りに石が敷き詰めてあるでしょ。
Yeah,
あ
I
れ
know.
と同じくらい輝く石、玉石が敷き詰めてあったって話だよ。
There are men
まあ
that
で
many?
もそういう言い伝えってだけで本当かどうかはわからないけどね。
Thought so. And so then, is it also true if two people were to bring those stones back, they'll be bound together for all eternity?
怪しいけどね。まあ本当だったら夢があるね。
Shouldn't have told him that. I had to tell him the whole story. That his gemstones were nothing but pure nonsense, a myth from long ago. After all, I had realized it. The second he heard my story. Ever so faintly, his radiance had flickered and began to shrink. I'd regretted it from the bottom of my heart the second I heard that he had drowned. I'd done it again. I'd caused another person's death all because I didn't say something I should have. I ran as fast as I could and reached the shore. There was a pale-faced boy lying on the ground, a girl sobbing over him.
嘘でしょ。ねえ、ユウってば。
お嬢ちゃん下がってて。
うるさいうるさい。ユウは私が助けるの。
いや、もう彼は息をしていないんだ。
嘘よ。それじゃあ、ユウは。
The spirit that spread across the girl's face had my heart feel like it was going to explode. I could see it. I could see his radiance fading away. He lacked the karma needed to survive this.
起きて。ねえ、起きてよ、ユウ。あんた言ったじゃない。私を守れるようになるって。私と釣り合う男になって。誓うって。私と結婚するって言ったじゃない。なのに。こんなのってないよ。ねえ、ユウ。あの時の約束はどうなるの？死んじゃったらもう何もできないよ。もう一緒に遊べないし、楽しいこともできない。大人になることも結婚することだって。
It was all my fault. My carelessness had sent him to
お
his
願い、
death.
神様、ユウを返して。私のユウを返してよ。贅沢は言わない。ただユウが生きて帰ってくるだけでいいから。結婚なんてできなくてもいい。ただユウが生きていてくれればそれでいいから。
I heard her wailing voice, and then I had an epiphany.
そういうことだったんだね。
The reason I had lived on, my raison d'être, it was all for today, for this moment.
もう見殺しにはしない。もう二度とあの時の過ちを繰り返したくない。
Briefest hesitation, a pointless fixation had deprived my parents and siblings of their lives. In the end, once again, another life was about to be lost. This was different. There was still something I could do.
返してくれたら私がユウを守る。絶対こんなことにならないように私が何でもするから。私がユウを幸せにしてみせるから。だからお願い、ユウを返してよ。
I'm sorry I made him suffer through this, Ibiki. I'll send you back to you.
私の運気を受け取って、ユウくん。
Okay, but how the fuck does the story come about now, then? My conscience was rapidly fading away. I hadn't been allowed any escape after I had watched my family die. Somehow survived until now because I believed that so strongly. But it was finally over. I wasn't going to die for nothing. I'd given up my life to avoid making the same mistake for a second time, which is why I was sure I would be forgiven. Right, Dad? Mom? What the fuck was the goddamn article about her saving you from drowning? He was already back to shore by the time she showed up, and then she did weird magical timey-wimey bullshit. Not timey-wimey, but you know what I mean. That no one would probably know what it is. Like, it was literally just, from their point of view, it would literally just be like the shrine, like the fucking girl from the shrine showing up and then fucking passing out at the moment the fucking life signs of you stabilize. Like, it was just, oh shit! Dead. Few days later. It was fairly early in the morning, but school gate was already open. Sports clubs were running around on the field off in the distance, most likely in the middle of their morning practice. I watched them as I took a seat on the bench. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, time passed. It was slow, but it was so peaceful. Even so, I continued to wait. I was convinced. I was so convinced that she would appear here. After all, she...
暇人っすね、先輩は。
Waiting for you, Kikka. Kikka was kind. So kind that she prioritized others' feelings over her own. That was the kind of person she was. Hey,
ああ、ちょっと透けてますけど、気にしないでください。なんせ自分、生き量なんで。
Yesterday I had gotten a call from Nagami. Joko Kikka had been experiencing multiple episodes of cardiac arrest recently. When I was told, they had performed AED resuscitation measures on her each time it happened. Kikka was quickly approaching her end. Gonna touch you.
ああ、どうすかね。試してみます？
Kikka held out her hand and I reached out to touch it. It was okay. Her hand was warm like it should be. Wet contact was like poison to you, wasn't it?
いやー、そんなことないっすよ。むしろ触ってくれない方が、私にとっては毒っすね。
She seems so cheerful, but I wonder if that's how she actually felt. The thought made my heart ache.
とは言っても、これじゃ気になるっすよね。よっしゃ、気合い入れるっす。ほら!
With a single shout, her contours became vivid. Motivation is enough to do about anything. Is enough to do something about that, huh?
よく、病は気からとか言うじゃないっすか。要は、生きる力って、半分くらいは気の持ちようなんすよ。まあ、それはいいとして。今日は何しに来たんすか?
All kinds of research these past couple of days about you and about the incident that happened to your family.
あんまり私の過去をほじくり返さないでくださいよ。恥ずかしいじゃないっすか。
Even now, she was cracking jokes.
だいたい、そんなこと調べてどうするつもりなんすか? もう終わったことっすよ。
When you last left, you told me you let your family die. I didn't think that could possibly be true, though. After all, you're a kind person, Kikka.
別に、自分優しくないっすよ。
Then why'd you accept my confession to become a girlfriend? Would have known that it would speed up your disappearance.
私も先輩のことが気になってた。それだけっす。
That's a lie. You value my happiness over your own well-being. That's why I prioritize my feelings, am I right? There's no way a person like that would just watch their family die. So I looked into it. And yesterday I finally found my answer. April 30th, 2000, and I'm not going to say it. Your family's accident occurred on a highway in the neighboring prefecture. All 5 members of her family were brought to Hatono City Hospital via ambulance. Their attending physician in the ICU at the time was Hasegawa Kenji.
そんなこと、よく教えてくれましたね。
I had Nagami's help. There were protection policies in place that protect information from being shared with outside parties. I knew that all too well. That was why I'd reached out to Nagami, who used her adult powers and explained the situation after getting down on my hands and knees. Out of everyone in your family, your father, brother, and sister died upon impact. It seems they had already stopped breathing by the time they were brought to the hospital. However, your mother was still alive. They tried to resuscitate her, but she unfortunately died in the process. At the time, Hasegawa heard your mother's last words.
なんて言ってたんすか?
According to Hasegawa, she called out your name. She was delirious whenever she spoke. I quoted Hasegawa directly when sharing her mother's final words. She had such an anxious look on her face. I'm positive I saw it. What do I do? I know she's going to blame herself. Nah, it's alright. It's not your fault. You aren't to blame. She kept repeating that over and over again. Kika's mom had known about Kika's special ability. She worried about Kika just before she passed on.
お母さん、本当にそんなこと言ってたんすか?
After regained consciousness, the girl apparently spoke to you multiple times, but you were like an empty shell of a person and couldn't keep up with a normal conversation. Kika had lost her entire family and gone into shock. Her relatives eventually transferred her to a nearby hospital, and time quickly passed her by. It was due to those regrets that I and her boyfriend have been told this story. Hey, Kika. You're just a little special and no more than other people. But normal people don't know when they might die. Nobody wants to die from an accident, and I'm sure they would do anything to avoid it if given the option. But no ordinary person has that sort of power. When the time comes, death is inevitable. There's nothing they can do but reflect on the life they've lived and accept it. In such a world where only the person closest to you avoid crisis. Would you help make that happen? Kika hesitated, then quietly spoke.
ダメだと思うっす。だってそんなの不公平じゃないっすか。
Yeah, that's right.
でも私には見えちゃうんすよ。その人がどれくらい人生を楽しめているか、あとどれくらい生きていられるか、全部わかっちゃうんすよ。それがどれだけ苦しいことか。こんなもの言えない方が良かったのに。
Isn't that why you poke fun at it and call it a youth camp and whatnot?
そうっすよ。そうでもしなきゃ正気じゃいられなかったんす。
Yeah, I figured as much. She was exactly the kind of person I thought she was. Kika, you really are kind. If it had felt like it, you could have abused that power 100 times over. But you never used it like that. That's why I didn't say anything, even when you saw your family's karma diminish. And you've regretted that decision every single day. You've suffered and continued to carry that guilt around with you. You are truly unbelievably kind.
先輩。
But listen, Kika. Your mom realized just how kind of a person you are too. That's why she was worried about you right up until the very end. She knew you would blame yourself since you can see others' karma. Your mother knew it wasn't your fault. She worried about you up until her very last breath. Kika sniffled and held back her tears. It's unfortunate your mother is no longer here. That being the case, I'll tell you exactly how your mom felt in her stead. He grabbed a hold of Kika's shoulders. Kika, you haven't done anything wrong. You didn't just stand around and let anyone die. Your mom didn't resent you whatsoever. I'm sure your father and siblings would feel the same. Kika, it's not your fault. You don't have to blame yourself anymore. You're exactly the same as everyone else. You have a right to be happy. You even have a right to enjoy your youth. That's no sin you have to bear. There's absolutely no reason for you to be punished.
先輩。
Kika, I love you. It's possible I'll be with you from now on. We promised, didn't we? That once we became a couple, we would travel the world together. I want to make your dream to a reality.
でもそれは。
Yeah, I know. What this would lead to would be brutal to accept and would lead to personal pain and suffering. But at the end of the day, my feelings and subject didn't matter. Kika had suffered infinitely more than I had. Kika had suffered far more than I had and shouldn't have shouldered that burden all by herself. So I asked her with a bleeding heart, what do you want to do, Kika? I'll accept your answer to the best of my ability, no matter what it is. So tell me, Kika, what do you want to do?
先輩、もし私が消えたら、先輩は悲しいっすか?
You don't need to worry about me. You always hold back to the point you've stuffed your own feelings. You've been so considerate of my feelings, so... But you don't have to do that anymore. You can be more selfish. Let me make your selfish wishes come true.
先輩、私は幸せになっていいんすか? 私も青春していいんすかね?
Of course it is. You don't need to hold back for anyone. Enjoy your youth to the fullest.
嬉しいっす.
Gently petted Kika's head as the those droplets spilled. Tell me what I want to do.
私は先輩と一緒にいたいっす。もう一人ぼっちは嫌なんす。最後は先輩の隣にいたいっす。
Kikka said that and leapt into my arms. Yeah, you got it. If that's what you wanted, I'll be with Kikka. Even if it meant that Kikka would disappear because of me. Okay, message is sent. Let everyone know that I found Kikka and that I would fill them in on more details later over with Lynn.
皆さん、何か返信してきてるっすか？
They're saying that they're glad I found you, they were all worried.
そっすか。皆さんには申し訳ないことをしたっす。
You said it, at least respond on Lynn. Put a hand on Kika's head and ground into it.
悪かったっすよ。先輩に単価切ったせいで出ていくのがちょっと恥ずかしかったんす。
You don't need to worry so much, you're spared for crying out loud.
あ、それ生き量差別っすよ。生き量にも人権を。
They literally don't. There is no law for spirits.
何笑ってるんすか？先輩ひでえっすね。
Is it real? It's really comical that a spirit is trying to advocate for her rights.
確かに変っすね。
Isn't it? We laughed together. It had been a long time since we laughed together like this.
これからどうします？
Good question. Want to go on a quick trip?
小旅行？
There are apparently some tourist attractions in the next city over. Want to go visit them together?
ああ、隣町っすか。多分無理だと思うっす。生き量だからなんすかね。あまり六道吉花の体から離れすぎると生き量の状態を保っていられなくなるんす。
Guess we'll just have to pack her body in a fucking travel bag. That's so.
だから自分、かざしにも行けないんすよ。残念っすね。
Kika replied with a lonesome smile and explained why Kika was always looking at travel pamphlets.
まあでも小旅行っていうのはいいアイデアっす。最後の青春イベントはそれにしましょう。
But you can't leave the city, right?
いいじゃないっすか、近くで。先輩と過ごしたこの街を見て回りたいっす。
We went along with Kika's suggestion and walked around town to various spots. Our first stop was the Youth Collective Club room. It was eerily quiet with no one around.
先輩、覚えてます？ここで部長を押し付けられたって私と揉めてたこと。
Yeah, I remember. When you told me to be your slave, I simply thought to myself, this girl's lost her marbles.
先輩があまりにやる気がなかったからっすよ。しょうがないから強引なやり方になった。それだけっす。
In the end, your persistence won out and you forced him to act to be assistant president.
楽しかったっすね。
I hated it at first, though. Really enjoyed it after a while.
本当は先輩をからかって終わりにするつもりだったんすけど、なんか引っ込みがつかなくなっちゃったんすよね。それが失敗だったっす。
What are you talking about? You didn't fail at all. I'm glad you and I got to be a couple. I don't have a regret. I don't regret it one bit.
そっすか。私も先輩と付き合えてよかったと思ってるっす。まさか好きな人と一緒になれるなんて思ってなかったんで、今は本当に幸せっす。
I was glad to hear that. We left the academy and eventually made our way to sit on the beach. That's why you saved me when I nearly drowned.
溺れてる先輩を助けたのは私じゃないっすよ。
Really?
私がここに来た時にはそこの岩場で横になってたんで、
And who pulled me out of the water?
たまたま潮の流れが良かったとかなんすかね。
Was that good luck or bad luck? So that was when you gave me your karma while I was on the verge of dying.
そうっす。そばで響ちゃんがワンワン泣いてて、本当に悪いことをしたなと思って。
Why did you immediately assume you had done something wrong?
やっぱり覚えてないんすね。子供の頃、先輩たちが巫女さんと呼んでたの、私なんすよ。
What? That was a shocker. No way, I'm for real. I just sat it down. Done a lot of things together. We got Baroka the family. I've been acting as priest of Tamo the shrine, and Kikka was the heir to the shrine as the first year student at the academy. One beyond for her to be working at the shrine maiden, as the shrine maiden there, all things considered. Neither Hibiki or I could remember what her face looked like.
それは多分、私が運気を放出しすぎて、マイナスになったからっすね。運気は生命のつながりの力でもあるんすよ。無理に運気を動かしてつながりを断ち切っちゃったんで、いろいろなところに弊害が出てるんだと思うっす。
Plot convenience.
禁忌を犯した代償ってやつでしょうね。
I say, the person who was supposed to die didn't, and the person who was meant to die became a spirit. Wasn't meant to die, became a spirit. That was more than enough of a taboo. Even so, I'm alive because of that taboo. Should I be the one to bear the burden of the consequences?
使ったのは私っすからね。それに先輩は、もう十分に攻め子を追ってるっす。
What do you mean?
私から移した運気は、かなり少なかったんすよ。先輩くらいの年の子が持つべき運気の量には、全然届いてなかったんす。だから先輩は、周りの子より運が悪かったはずっす。
If you put it that way, a lot kind of made sense to me. After I had nearly drowned, my real father had both gone missing, and my stepfather had eventually passed on. Would have been nice if we could have lived an ordinary life with an ordinary family, but nothing about me was especially ordinary.
自分、生き量になってからずっと、この辺りをブラブラさまよってたんすよ。そしたら偶然、先輩を見かけて。他にやることもなかったんで、先輩を追いかけてたんす。私が先輩のことをいろいろと知ってるのは、だいぶ前からストーカーしてたからなんすよ。
Having a spirit as a stalker is terrifying.
たまにいたずらして遊んでたんすけどね。
Don't tell me those times my showers suddenly got cold were.
私の仕業っす。いやー、あれは楽しかったっすね。
Why you? I seriously thought my heart was going to stop whenever you pranked me in the winter time.
ちょっとしたジョークっすよ。少しでも先輩を和まそうと思って。
Like hell it did!
だって先輩、義理のお父さんが亡くなってからいつも思い詰めた顔してたじゃないっすか。なんとか元気になってもらいたいなーっていろいろやってみたんすけどね。原因は分かってたんすよ。運気が足りなくていい未来を引き出せないからだって。だから先輩にはなんとかして青春してもらいたかったんす。輝いてる小日向先輩、鹿島先輩、みんなと一緒にいることで少しでも運気が上がれば、きっと先輩も楽しい人生が送れるようになるはずだって。そのお手伝いをするために私も先輩の前に出て行ったんすよ。
She did. I've been watching for a long time. She was not worried about me. That's why she kept on telling me to enjoy my youth. Thank you, Kikka.
いえいえ、どういたしまして。私も先輩からいっぱいもらったんで、お互い様っすよ。
It feels like I should end it here. You know, leave some video for tomorrow.
セーブですね。了解です。
Incidentally, I already asked our dear friend Kiria about Sakura Celebration. I have permission, so yes. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. So I'll see you next time. Bye.